Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation. This is our H.O.O.D Recovery Services. H.O.O.D is an acronym, H-O-O-D, that stands for Hope Offered on Demand. And I am looking forward to doing your NA Just for Today meditation. Hope that you're excited. I have no idea what the topic of it is, but I am excited to do it with you. Listen, if you need to reach out to me, please reach out to me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get into our Just for Today NA meditation for June the 20th. Meditation for beginners. For some, prayer is asking for God's help. Meditation is listening for God's answer. Quieting the mind through meditation brings an inner peace that brings us into contact with the God within us. Basic text pages 46 through 47. So let's take a moment of silence before we get into this, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So our topic here today is about meditation for beginners, June 20th. It has 2022, but it will be the same throughout the years. So if you're looking at this next year, don't mind the date there, June the 20th. Okay, this is what it says about that. Be patient when you're learning to meditate. Many of us were told it takes practice to know what to listen for. We're glad someone told us that, or many of us would have quit after a week or two of meditating. For the first few weeks, we may have sat each morning, stilled our thoughts, and listened, just as the basic text said, but heard nothing. It may have taken a few more weeks before anything really happened, even though what happened was often barely noticeable. We were rising from our morning meditations feeling just a little bit better about ourselves, a little more empathy for those we encountered during the day, and a little more in touch with our higher power. For most of us, there was nothing dramatic in that awareness, no bolts of lightning or claps of thunder. Instead, it was something quietly powerful. We were taking time to get our egos and our ideals out of the way. In that clear space, we were improving our conscious contact with the source of our daily recovery, the God of our understanding. Meditation was new, and it took time and practice. But like all the steps, it worked when we worked it. Just for today, I will practice listening for knowledge of God's will for me, even if I don't know what to listen for yet. What a beautiful meditation and an embracing meditation. It leaves the topic or the concept or ideology of meditation open for anyone that may not have a complete understanding of it. And what I want to say is that I love meditation today. I use it periodically throughout the day. I do not have a set time for meditation. I generally use it when I believe that I'm going to benefit the most from it. For me personally, if I become anxious or I'm feeling very unwell, is when I will go into meditation. And it can range anywhere from, I would say maybe 5 minutes or a little bit longer. I always set the timer for the timetable that I have afforded to use. So if I'm just feeling anxious about an encounter that I'm about to have, for instance, I will set the clock for 5 minutes and 15 seconds. And that gives me an opportunity to start the timer, re-establish my posture, and get ready so that by the time I'm into quieting my thoughts, no longer moving around or sipping my coffee or dandelion root or whatever it is, then I have a full 5 minutes. And then when the timer does go off, I have a beautiful chime, not a very loud chime, not something that's going to startle me, but it also I set it so that it increases in volume. For going as it begins, it's very quiet, and then it increases, just to pull me out of that meditation gently, because I don't like to be startled. So that's one thing that I do is if I'm switching gears and I'm going into an encounter that will change my energy or change the energy that I've had prior to that encounter, I try to prepare myself for that so that I'm listening, I'm attentive, I'm not judgmental, and that I'm kind. If I am taken by surprise, I'll generally just say a silent prayer in my head so that I am able to make sure that the words that come out of my mouth are reflective of what I feel in my heart and also reflective of my relationship with my higher power. That is pretty much why I don't like impromptu encounters. I don't really care too much for being surprised by company, because I love to have an opportunity to set my energy right so that people don't get the wrong impression about how I'm thinking or feeling about them. The other thing I think is important for the individual that is really new to meditation is that it doesn't have I want to say like it's not an agenda. It doesn't have an end game, because once you get into meditation, you might be surprised at how difficult it is actually to quiet your thoughts. You might have to practice several times just observing your thoughts. Be mindful that they're there and kindly and lovingly dismiss them with a not now, and then, or I release you, right? So sometimes I have to speak to those thoughts as they come to me. I release you, meaning that I've seen you, I've acknowledged you, that you're there. You're more like an automatic negative thought. And I'm not going to give you the time of day right now. And I do it in a way that is loving and kind, because as long as I have breath in my body, I will have intrusive thoughts. I will have thoughts that come to me uninvited, because that's the nature of man, right? And so we need to acknowledge that. One of the times, one of the things I think is important, I started to say, was that if you're new to it, you will often be surprised at your inability to settle down, or your inability to stop your racing thoughts. And I just want you to know that it's not the stopping of them that you need to concern yourself with, because that's a little abnormal. It's not the stopping of them, it's the ability to be aware of them and not respond, right? To be aware of them and not respond and maintain your breathing. A lot of people, there's been times when I have been doing something and then all of a sudden I'll gasp for air, totally unconscious that I'm not breathing properly. So to begin with, just practice on breathing in and out. When you breathe out, as Brendan Burchard suggests, just say release. And then breathe in, count to 4 or 5, however deeply you can go. And then as you start to exhale, say release. And anytime you feel yourself getting wonky with that, go back to just saying release as you exhale. And it's to be very calming. I believe that meditation is regenerative for the cells in my body. I believe it's regenerative for my spirit. And so I enjoy it. I recommend it for anyone. When I came into Narcotics Anonymous, my impression of meditation was that it was very Easternly, Middle Eastern or Easternly. It was a tradition that was practiced mostly in the East, Asian countries. And what I came to find out was that even though that has its, that's what we're most familiar with, right? The yoga, the quieting of the mind, and the mantras, and right. And so I could not really identify with that. My religiosity did not afford me to even examine that, or to even uh, feel fooled thinking I'm doing one thing and really I'm just doing something else that doesn't agree with my religion. And so I really had to make sure that meditation had a deeper root. Um, and I remember the first time I got the awareness as a Christian that God breathed his breath into man and he came to life. And so when I thought about that, the power of breath coming from the creator of humankind into our formed bodies and bringing life, I was able to walk it back. I was able to walk meditation completely back to the beginning and to my creator. And when I did that for myself, I'm not sure about the people listening, but when I did that for myself, I became more at ease with the thought of meditation, settling my mind down and listening for that spiritual direction. Because a lot of times when I'm meditating, I find that I'm crying within the meditative time. And usually it's because I am baffled at how much I was actually trying to take on and control as a human of not just my situations, but those of others that I have absolutely no right or authority or control over. And it would become so obvious to me that one of the reasons I'm getting all this gray hair, or one of the reasons I'm feeling so unhealthy, is because I'm actually trying to fix, manage, and control situations that are not for me to do. And I would become humbled in those moments with a spirit of gratitude. And that's what those tears would be, tears of joy. And I never failed to walk away feeling better, lighter, more energetic, because things have been properly aligned as to what is mine to handle and what is not, right? And so I just encourage you to start taking it as a part of your self-care, as a part of something you do for yourself so that you can be better, not only for yourself, but those that are in your life on a day-to-day basis, and those that may not be, but that you serve to some degree, so that everything is aligned. Everything is in its proper alignment and you're not taking on more than you should. I hope this has been helpful for you. This is a topic I could probably talk about all day, but I don't need to. I'm going to keep it simple and leave it there. And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening.